Debbie, we've been friends for a few years now.
Sure.
What is something that you wish people knew about you that people don't ever talk about or ask about? What is something that...
It has to be my accent. People don't even notice it.
They don't notice your accent?
No.
Where do people think you're from?
Oh, gosh. Usually somewhere on the eastern seaboard. Boston, Georgia. That's probably the funniest. I would say most of the time people get it correct, but they do get me confused with England, New Zealand, and South Africa, which my husband still gets confused with those accents, so not really a surprise. But yeah, the ones that surprise me are are you from Boston? Are you from New Jersey? Are you from...
Michigan?
I don't get middle country. It's usually eastern seaboard. So I don't know.
There's been a few people that we've talked to, especially folks that are coming in either for coaching or potentially wanting to work with you, and they've said that you're intimidating.
Who said that?
A few people have said it.
Really?
Yeah, Lissa has said it.
Lissa?
Sarah.
Oh, I'm scared of Lissa. Why would she be intimidated by me? Have you met Lissa?
Yes.
Like, she needs to be revered.
Yeah. She's a powerhouse.
I know.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising. I didn't know I was putting that out there.
Why do you think people would see you as being intimidating?
Other than I know what I want business-wise, I don't know. Business is probably the only time I can actually make a decision. I'm very indecisive in my real life, mostly because I don't really care, if that makes sense. Like, and you've asked, can we do this? Can we do that? And 9 times out of 10, I'm like, okay. If I don't have an opinion, like if I don't care, I don't care. But when I have an opinion, I have an opinion. And I have hills that I'll die on, which you've experienced. And I've said, no, put my foot down. Absolutely. I don't care if you put holes in my wall. I don't care if you do this. I don't care what you do. But there's times where I'm like, no, that's my line. And so I don't know whether it's that or it's just the fact that probably the only time I'm actually able to be decisive is with my business. And even then, that's after a lot of inner turmoil, kind of back and forth conversations with me and friends and other business people. And then I'm like, nope, this is what I want to do. But then once I make my mind up, I know what I want.
I mean, do you think some of it has to do with the fact that you are a female business owner? I mean, you're a woman.
Maybe only to other female business owners. I'm definitely not intimidating to any male business owners, I don't feel. If anything, I'm underestimated by male business owners. So
why do you think that is?
I think they think I'm a girl and I don't know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a long time, and so I am very confident in what I need and what I want, and so I advocate for it. And I think a lot of men, at least that I've dealt with, I don't know, think they can put one over me or something. But I know people and I know how to find out answers, and I don't like to be hoodwinked or taken advantage of. So I am very, very conscious of that, I guess. And I'll speak my mind. Like, I'm not too scared to stand up to a man in business.
It's not about the gear and it's not about the price. So if it's not about those, what do you think it is about? Kind of just that.
For the client? I feel like it's not, it's more about them being seen or heard, or whether it's photo or video, I guess, and for you both. And how we make them feel. Because if a person doesn't feel that they're heard, doesn't feel that they're seen, doesn't feel good about the end product, it doesn't matter how much or how little you pay.
And how is a client going to know how they want to feel? Like, what does that look like when you're talking to somebody?
I think a lot of times it's taking the time to ask the questions instead of just, oh, you want a headshot? That's X amount of dollars. It's, so tell me a little bit about you. It's finding out what they do for a living or what they need the headshot for. If it's going to be something that they need for work, if it's something for personal, it's finding out all of that information. It's also finding about who their ideal clients are so that we can best know how to instruct them on what to wear or how they want to look in the photograph kind of thing.
We sort of guide their image and guide their purpose and feeling.
Yeah, because if we don't know that, we could have a preschool teacher come in here, like Amber's new daycare across the street, and if we don't know who they are or what they do for a living and that they need to present a certain way for families, and if we have them standing there like this in a photo with no smile, who wants to drop their newborn off to somebody like, you've got to know who the audience is going to be. And I think that's a question that is oftentimes not asked when people are looking for headshots.
Someone who's nervous or overwhelmed or unsure that what they actually want from photography. Like, how do you define the why?
My why has always been your why is personal. Your why is always going to be personal. But my why, and why I even started a business 17 years ago, was because of my grandma, my Nana. And when she passed away, there was one 8x10 formal portrait of her. And it was probably taken a good 20 odd years before she died. But that's the only photo that we have. And I've got lots of cousins and I've got a big family on my mum's side. And so it just became really important for me that everybody has those photos. Everybody has access to them. Back, obviously, when my Nana was having her photos done, they didn't have digitals. It was back in the negatives. And this was actually, like, I can still see it. It's a professional photo that's been done in a studio. And so it's just like a headshot. It's not even a full body, and it's only her by herself. So we don't have any copies of that. We could now do them, obviously. But that's not something that, when she passed away, that we had access to. So it's just something that's really important and personal to me, that people have the ability to get those photos of their loved ones, whether they be human or fur babies.
Because it's about memory and it's about legacy.
Legacy and being here. She's gone. She's been gone for, I want to say, a long time. I'm trying to remember if I know Kian was born. I think he might have been like 1 or 2. So she's maybe been gone for 20 years. I still think about her often. She's still very much a part of who I am. She's less a part of my children's lives. She's still very much a part of my family in Australia's life because most of them are still all there and everything. But that next generation, she'll be disappearing a little bit more. And then the great-grands, they're even late. Like, they're never going to know her, obviously. So it's really important to be represented so that even, 2, 3 generations gone, you're still present. You're still part of that family lineage and story. Something that I hear on a very regular basis is, I don't know if it's a fear, but I think it is an underlying fear. So just bear with me. Is I wasn't expecting to love this many photos. And I'm saying it's a fear because then all of a sudden the reality clicks in of, oh, crap, I want to buy all of these. And we're not cheap. And so I think that is something. One thing that I learned very early on is to stay out of people's wallets. It's none of my business. I learned that through a really good lesson, and I just sit there and I just be quiet and I let them do the math in their head. They're not stupid. Our clients are very smart. They're not, they know that if one print costs $400, then 5 prints, that they know basic
It's
math.
multiplier, yeah.
And if they've got, one piece of artwork that's $1,500 for one kid and they've got 3 kids, they're not just going to buy it for one kid. They're going to buy all 3. So they're not silly. They can do math. I think that is a common, at least initial fear, when they sit there and they're like, oh, I didn't think, even if it's with dogs or littles, like, I didn't think we could get that many good photos. Oh, yeah. We always say we're very good at what we do. Letting them do the math in their head to figure out, how can I get this? How can I pay for this? If it's not important, they'll just buy 1 or 2 prints. And that's fine. But if it is important, then they'll find the money. It's kind of like, I liken it to Super Bowl Sunday. If our TV broke down, Doug would go out and buy another TV that day, because that's how important it is.
You would have a TV or be in front of a TV
within an hour.
Yeah.
It's the same with our clients. They think, oh, there's no way I can afford that, or there's no way I can do that. But when they sit and they think about the value of it and it's the importance of it, they'll find a way. And that's fine if it takes them a while to pay it off, because I'd rather them take the time to pay it off and have them than not have them at all. Because this year, even, we had 2 clients come back this year from 5 and 6 years ago looking for photos. And of course, we had them because that's what we do.
Right. Yeah.
But that's how valuable they were. I didn't take those photos again. They were both dog photos.
Yeah, dogs who had passed away.
And they had purchased a couple, and it wasn't to say that they didn't value all of them when they first came in, but they wanted more. And they paid my new pricing, even though it was different from 5-6 years ago, because that's how important it was to them to have that, because it was the only way they could go back and get it. And that's when something becomes invaluable. It doesn't matter how much.
Right.
I mean, obviously, everybody has their price.
Right.
Had I said, oh, it's $10,000 a photo, I'd never do that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's invaluable because you literally cannot go back and get those photos. Like that one photo of my Nana, invaluable. Like, priceless, because she's no longer here and we cannot go back and get that photo.
So how do you make people feel safe and feel comfortable, especially when it's maybe something a little bit more sensitive or something that has a little bit more emotion involved?
We build trust. For me, I know a lot of the clients, we'll put them in positions, we'll pose them, we'll do all of this kind of stuff, and they're like, this is weird. Or if like you're in a position and you've got a friend here, they're like, they can't see what we're seeing in the camera. I think sometimes just being able to show the client a quick look at the back of the camera, that's one way that we can build trust. I know we say a lot, trust the process. You've just got to trust us. We promise it looks phenomenal. It might feel awkward or, whatever, but it looks great. I think just building that rapport with the client, talking them through things, showing them the back of the camera. I mean, if I can show a client 1 or 2 photos at the beginning of a shoot, I don't have to show them the camera for the rest of the shoot.
Right.
Because they're like, oh, and you can physically see it in their body once they're like, oh, this actually I look amazing. And if I'm showing families with their dogs pinging off the wall and I've got a phenomenal photo, then they can kind of relax a little bit too, because they're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. How are you getting anything? But I can slowly just try to, build that confidence and trust that, yeah, we are doing what we need to do to get what we need. And we've done this for long enough. We know what we're looking for. So trust us. And we're quick, especially with littles and dogs.
And it's about the milliseconds. So
maybe I'm thinking about it too much, because I feel like it's just the fact that we're really good at what we do and we've done this for a really long time, so we know exactly what we're looking for. And also I think part of it is having those conversations with parents, with individuals beforehand, we know what we're looking for. We're not just clicking the camera a million times and hoping for the best and hoping it'll be something they love. If we know that a client loves it when their cat crawls up on their laps voluntarily instead of being picked up, we're going to photograph that when it happens. Like I had a client the other day say she loves the contour of her back, right? I'm going to make sure I photograph that for her. She may never have had her back photographed the way that we've photographed it before, right? There is just so many different ways. And if you know exactly what the client's looking for, it just makes our job so much easier. We're not taking a shot in the dark. We're being very methodical and intentional with what we do. Now, granted, there's a lot of, like when there's kids and dogs involved or a large group of people, there is an element of you've got to take more photos, but we're still intentional with it.
If you go out on a mini session at a park or something like that, you don't have that
10,
time.
15 minutes, yeah. I was just going to say that's deliberately why we have a 2 to 3 hour time block. It does not take 2 or 3 hours to photograph people, like for families or pets or anything. We block it off very specifically so your dog or your kids can come in here and they can be shy, they can be excitable, they can be whatever they need to be, and then we photograph them. So that's really what takes up the time. And because it's a new environment, they're not going to be on their best behavior. They may be amazing at home, but when they're out, they're excitable, or vice versa. I remember my mum being surprised that I wasn't talking in class all the time because I talk so much at home. It's the same with kids and pets here. So, they're not always the same as they are at home because it is a new environment. And here there's lots of different smells for dogs and stuff. Yeah. So we have people calling saying we want a family photo.
But they don't know what that means.
Yeah. Well, so do you just want one photo of the family? Like that never happened. Have you ever? Have you ever? No. They also don't know what to ask for because, of the way they've been trained in society and Facebook. But yeah, like if a client calls and says they want a family photo, well, what does that mean? That means something different to everybody. It could be a stand or, everybody posed, sitting, standing, perfect, looking at the camera, smiling. It could be no one's looking at the camera. It could be them all interacting. It could be them sitting on the ground. It could be them standing up. It could be anything. And without those conversations, we don't know. They don't know what they want. Does that make sense? Like they know they need photos done, but they don't know how important it is to get that photo of mum with the little girl, dad with the little girl by herself, things like that. That's all. That's how we add value.
Right. Yeah. How do you explain the difference between what you do here versus what we call shoot and burns, or your weekend warrior photographers, your hobbyist with a camera? What's the difference?
I mean, in all reality, the layman, the regular people, the clients, like who aren't photographers is what I'm trying to say. They might not be able to tell the difference between, a shoot and burn photographer and a more premium photographer. I mean, there's obviously bad photography, don't get me wrong, and you get what you pay for, and that's pretty standard. But I've seen some really, really bad photography on Facebook and people being like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And so it means something different to everybody, right? To me, the main difference is it's in the business side of it. Because photography, like I said, you can have really phenomenal shoot and burn photographers. Their work is incredible, but they're just not charging a lot. So they're either fully booked or they're just busy. I think the biggest difference is honestly the business side of it. From what I see, from what a client sees, there might not be any difference.
What are some of the factors that play into the cost?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I mean, I could sit here and literally rattle off everything. But something as simple as like having a CRM, right? A client management system where you have all of the information in there, all of the communication, all of the financials, like all of that. That a lot, like that stuff that's not cheap, right? The overhead of, like for us, the brick and mortar overhead is definitely different. But I think a lot of the differences, like we've seen a lot online lately about, like we saw that video the other day about the wedding photographer. They were going to charge us $11,000 for photography and $8,000 for videography. Well, to me, I think that's really cheap for a full day of work. I know that adds up to $19,000, but like they went on to explain, at the end of the day, there is nothing left of your wedding day. You don't get to live in the venue that you rented. You don't get to wear the dress again, unless it's a trashy dress. You don't get to eat the food again. The people all go home. The flowers die. The hair and makeup gets washed off the next day. The only thing left to represent your day are the photos, and that's the one thing that people will want to try to cheapen out on. And so when I heard 19,000, I was like, that's a steal. That's really good.
I mean, there's factors in that as far as, this was a South Florida. And as the guy was saying, the venue is, most of the venues are $30,000, $40,000 for.
Well, I mean, there's other photographers who start at 100,000, right? They're not for you. Like, it's fine. It's okay.
We use the car analogy. It's like if you can't afford a Porsche, you don't buy a Porsche. You buy what you can afford, and
that doesn't mean that Porsches are wrong.
No, and Porsche is not going to stop building Porsches.
Yeah, it's like, but in the comment sections, you see all of the people like, well, I'm a photographer and I would never charge that much. Well, I'm sorry, that's kind of a you,
right? Right. But that same photographer who is saying that they would photograph a wedding for $500, they are not going to be the people who are hired to photograph a wedding for $10,000.
No.
They will be hired to photograph weddings for $500 until they change their prices. And that they will get clients at $500. They will make...
But can I tell you something? $500 clients are pains in the ass.
Yes. Well, because this is, Hermosi was talking about this. He said that if you have a client who's in their mind spending a lot of money, then they are trusting you with a lot of money. And it doesn't matter what that amount is. So if somebody was to come in and say, this service is $100,000, and that was a very expensive price for me, I would treat that as a major purchase. I would say that is the biggest purchase I will make in my entire life, and it's very important to me. Where somebody else might look at it and be like, okay, that's weekend. That's weekend money for them. And so if you are somebody who charges $500, chances are the people who are paying $500 for...
It's a lot for them.
It is.
But do you know what comes with that? Micromanagement.
Yeah, because
it is a lot of money.
They're trusting you with so much money to them that they're going to want to make sure that every single thing that they are asking for gets done.
And I like it on the other end when people say to us, here's $15,000, do your job.
Right. And it's because it would normally there's a scalable factor there where when people are willing to easily spend larger amounts of money, it means that money is less important to them than the thing they're getting.
Yeah.
And so once you find that threshold, but again, so all these people that are in the comment section, especially the photographers, I sometimes feel like what they're really doing is like, no, pick me. Like, don't hire the $10,000 one. Hire me for $1,000, and I will do exactly the same.
They will not. And a lot of the thing that I think is really unrealistic, and this is something that I noticed yesterday or the day before, because I was looking through it, and the photos they're putting up are the $50,000 to $100,000 photographers. Photos. I want photos that look like this.
Yes.
But then they're like mad when somebody quotes them more than a couple of $1,000s, and then it's unrealistic. Stop putting those photos up. Find an actual, $500 to $3,500 photographer. Put those photos up.
Right.
You will see the difference. For sure.
I mean, if you're going to Martha Stewart's wedding magazine or whatever that thing is, the Bride magazine, every one of the weddings in there, those photographers got paid a significant amount of money.
I think one of the things that people commonly misunderstand is like how many hours are involved. Like let's just take wedding photography because that's what we're talking about. Well, it shouldn't cost that much money, Well, a wedding, even though let's say on average, what most of our weddings are 8 to 10 hours,
8
right?
to 10,
They're not a short day.
No.
Oftentimes we're driving anywhere from an hour to 3-4 hours to the location, which means we're going up the night before, like getting all of that kind of stuff. Then we have to drive back the next day. Hotels are involved. But it's not just the 8 to 10 hours of a wedding. It's all the time that led up to it. We might meet with a client a year and a half, 6 months before the wedding. That right there is already an hour, if not 2 hours. And then we touch base with our clients every month just to see where they're at. Is there anything you need help with? Is there anything that we can help you with? That how are you feeling? Do you still,
are you still engaged?
Still in your,
Are you still? Is the wedding still on?
Open up. Is your sister still in your bridal party? Like, you're just being personable. You're being a friend to them, right? And you're being interested in them because this is a stressful time for them. But we're investing in them. Then you've got on the day of, typically for us, it would be no less than 2 photographers. Because we want to be able to capture the groomsmen while the bride and bridesmaids are being photographed. We want to be able to capture 2 perspectives coming down the aisle, and we want to capture all of that. People don't think about things like that. Then we're going to have a videographer. Sometimes you have an assistant. Sometimes we have an assistant. That's 5 people right there that then we're paying for, right? For 10 hours and multiple hotel rooms possibly.
Hotel, gas, travel expenses.
Food.
Yep.
And that's just the beginning, Charles, because guess what happens at the end of a wedding?
You got to go edit.
Oh, not even to begin with. We have to download and cull through thousands of photos, which could be another 4 hours.
Yeah.
Right? And that's when the editing starts, which could be another 4 to 8 hours. So you're looking at a 10-hour wedding like this. A 10-hour wedding could be 30 or 40 hours for the photographer. And when you break what you're paying them down, like you pay a photographer, I'm going to do math because that's terrible that I can't do the math on that. So you charge you pay a photographer $3,500 for a 10-hour wedding. You divide that by 40 hours, that's $87 an hour, which I know sounds like a lot, right? But it's really not, because for that whole time, there's no other job that they can do.
Right. There's no other job they can do. And something where you're not going to be able to do that every day of the year.
It takes a lot out of your body.
It does, because
especially at our age.
On a wedding day, as soon as you get out of bed that morning, chances are your butt
I've already taken Tylenol.
Yeah, your butt's not going to be resting until you get back to the hotel or you get back into your car or whatnot at the end of the day.
You know me, at the end of any kind of event when I have to be social, I am like peopled out.
She's like zombie.
I know.
Everything gets shut off.
Yeah.
The thing is like the cameras.
They're heavy.
They're heavy.
Well, they're not they're not heavy, but after 10 hours, they're heavy.
Right. I mean, you take you take a book and hold a book up like this.
For 10 hours.
Or you hold one of your Stanley mugs. You just walk around so next time you have a chance, just walk around for 10 hours with your Stanley mug like this and see how you feel at the end of it. You're not going to like it. And that's kind of what it's like. And not only that, but you don't have a lot of time to not be on focus.
You have to be on
the whole time. Like you have to be.
No matter what drama's going on with families, no matter what, you have to be lovely, which is fine. I mean, I can be that, but you have to be neutral. You have to be lovely. You have to be on, and that's exhausting.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to get aggressive with people. And I don't mean like, a throw down into a bar fight.
You do need to corral a little bit because we, the photographers, are often put onto a timeline that doesn't fit with what they want. They want this, but they've got this much time. And so we've got to be like, bam, bam, bam. So we do feel aggressive a little bit. But it's just because we will advocate for that client, for the bride and the groom to get what they want, and we will make it happen.
There's a lot of work. And people think that editing is easy. And it's, in some ways, if you become very practiced at editing, it can be streamlined and it can be fast, but
and two, because we have a style,
right?
Like, so we're not going to be throwing sepia on it. We're not going to be, doing stuff that is not look like our work. So yeah, we're fine-tuned the look of our photos.
Right.
But
that means that you do have to be intentional, and it's sort of like you said, we spend the whole day focusing, but then when you're editing, you have to focus. You can't just be like, you have to, like, I'm looking at this photo, and
oftentimes that is a situation where we are clicking more than we're not like just going click, click. We are trying to capture like everything. Obviously, there is definitely stuff that is intentional that we will set up and stuff like that. But like, we don't, you can't miss the kiss. Click, 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 click. And then you've got to go through maybe 10 photos to get one photo. Like that, yeah. But I mean, we're at a point where we have an editing team, which is another expense. Can I edit? 100%. Can you edit? 100%. But that's not how we make money. So it's cheaper for us to pay an editor to go and to do all of that for us. And that's something that we build into our costs as well. So, so I was working with this studio. Their work was really great. They had, they were a wedding studio, and they did really good work. I just remember the first time, like, I was sitting there and I'm trying to talk to them about, the clients and what the clients want and everything. And the owner was like, well, what do you think of that photo? And I said, it's nice. I mean, it was beautiful. It was an epic photo, if you can imagine. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. Bride and groom are like this big down in the bottom of it. He's like, but this is award winning. I said, did the clients buy it? Well, no. Well, then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, because it could have been anybody.
Yeah, like I don't.
It could have been probably a couple of mannequins.
I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And obviously, it wasn't good enough for the clients to even want it in their album, right? And that really bothered him because this was an award-winning photograph, and I was like, I don't care. If it made you no money, it's not a good photo. Because I'm not about awards or publications or like that means nothing to me. I've never in 17 years had a client ask me what my education was, how many awards I've won, what level of experience I have, where I've been published. They don't care. They just want to be seen and heard. Let's go back to my Nana. We have one printed, tangible product. Right, one tangible photograph. I don't know if anybody out of all of my aunts, uncles, cousins, mom, like I don't think anybody, if we even, I know we don't have the negative, but I don't even know if we would still have it. Does that make sense? And digital's the same thing. I was talking to the other day something. Oh, when I was talking to Ashley about, maintaining digital backups and stuff like that. The external hard drives that we use today, 5-10 years from now, may not even work.
Right.
So you've got to constantly stay on top of, that. Otherwise, you're not going to have those digitals forever. Whereas a tangible product is something that you can and should have forever, short of a fire or a disaster or.
It wasn't that many years ago that we were using floppy disks.
Yeah.
And putting stuff on CDs.
Yep.
And now we're at SSDs and,
Can you still use thumb drives? I'm assuming you can still.
Yeah, I mean, you can still, but what ends up happening, and this is the same thing with film, or if anybody's ever tried to buy Polaroid film for an Instagram, it's like, those things are like $3 a photo.
I know. And they don't last. My daughter used Polaroids at her wedding, and it's been 8 years, and you can't see them anymore.
Nope. That's why when we do Polaroids for anything, we scan them and we make sure that we get really good digital copies, and then probably print them because otherwise, you're gonna lose it. Because it's just kind of an archaic way of the chemical process. But
straight ballpark is $1,000 a finished minute, like depending on, obviously, what they want. So if a branding client comes in and they want a 3-minute video, $3,000. Now, we're not charging, like if you've got a 25-minute wedding ceremony, that's not $25,000.
Right.
That's different.
That would be nice.
That would be one way. We charge that, just not for one video. But that's a ballpark kind of thing, obviously. And then we have quick turnaround videos like reels for social media and stuff like that. They're only a couple hundred. People don't realize the shorter the video, the harder it is to do it.
It is.
More time consuming it is. So.
Yeah, I mean, a wedding ceremony, for instance, or like this church service or a funeral or something like that, where we're setting up 1 or 2 cameras and we're just letting them record for a long period of time. And that's what will be delivered as one long file. That effort is not very difficult. We're kind of letting the tool do the work, and the edit is going to be relatively simple. So we can give a price break there for the minutes, as it were. But if you want, for instance, we did a 15-second commercial and it needed to convey a lot of information. It was easily 6 hours of editing.
I know, it's ridiculous, but yeah.
I hired an actress. We hired a voiceover. I had to buy stock footage and stock music, and all of that for a 15-second commercial.
15 seconds.
It was 15. Oh, it was all along 15. Like why? Yeah, I mean, but that would have that was easily a $6,000 production. But if you go, like I said, if you look at the $1,000 a minute, or like, somebody goes, it's only 15, so I can do that with my phone in 15 seconds.
Go ahead.
Go do it.
Go do it with your
phone. You hire the actress. And
I've sat there and watched TV at nighttime, and those 15-second commercials, 30-second commercials, I think that's about the most you'll see on
most commercials are 15
unless
to 30
it's like
seconds.
a TV, like a movie, then it might be 45 maybe, but there's a lot of work that goes into them.
Yeah.
You're trying to convey something in 15 seconds. Like you've got an event, you want us to, like a 4, 5, 6 hour event, and you want 15-second clips for social media, and we have to put 6 hours into 15 seconds. That's a lot of work.
Yep.
Not only, I mean, first of all, you've got to sit there and watch. You've got to video it, then you've got to watch it, and then you've got to determine which points are the most important. And then there is so much work that goes into it. And people just don't think of it because they think of the 15 seconds.
And then and this is one of the factors when it comes to videography that's a little different than photography is if I have my camera pointed at a subject and I'm taking photos and I'm relying on autofocus, for instance, there's a high probability that 90% of the photos are going to be in focus, the right white balance, the right ISO, all that kind of stuff. If I'm letting the camera do a lot of the work. For video, it is a whole nother ball game because you're doing 30, 60 frames per second. And that's a lot of frames that your camera can go all kinds of wonky on you. And I've seen everything happen on these cameras where the color will shift. The focus will just go all over the place. And you have to invest in the equipment that takes a lot of those risks out. So yeah, your cell phone is really great, but there's a lot of computer power that's involved in it, and you will not get the depth or the quality out of the image that you will from a higher end camera. But then the other thing that happens is these higher end cameras require you to know how to use a higher end camera. You have to understand what it means when you shift something around. Why, like if I'm shooting in log versus standard profile versus cinetone, like what does that mean later on? And then I have to match. All the cameras have to match. So if I have 3 or 4 cameras,
and they're not all Sonys.
and if I'm not using all Sonys, or if I have somebody who gets files from other locations and they're a Canon or a Nikon, So there's a lot of factors that add some extra stress. And it just makes it harder on the back end on editing. But editing, I would say usually editing is 3 to 1, so it's 3 hours to every 1 hour. So if I spend an hour, for instance, a wedding service, if I spend an hour covering a wedding service, this is 3 hours to edit that. If I spend 10 hours on a wedding day, and you want me, so I'm looking at 30 to 40 hours to make a highlight reel. And the hardest part sometimes is finding the right music.
Oh, I know, because I did those Instagram reels.
And
Music's a bitch.
Music. Come on, people, make more music. What's something a client should ask themselves before they pick a photographer or filmmaker or videographer?
Yeah. How important is it to them?
Yeah, like how important is it? What exactly do they need? And where is it going to live is one that we ask quite often. If you are talking about a canvas art piece that's going to sit above the fireplace for the next 50 to 100 years, how important is your choice in photographer?
Yeah.
If you are going to make a video that's going to sit on your website, that's the first thing that clients that are going to spend $100,000, $200,000 for you to build their house or to sell them something or to put braces on your kid or something along that line, how important is that video going to be? If it's just, hey, I just want some fun thing I need to save the date. Yeah.
That's going to go out on an email.
Yeah.
That's not the same importance.
Right. If you are an aspiring actress or actor and you're trying to get into some big Hollywood productions or on Broadway or whatnot, how important is your headshot? If you're, trying to make partner at your law firm and, you want people to have a certain feeling about your image, like how important is that?
The amount of selfie headshots I see is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
So unprofessional.
If somebody is nervous about investing in photography or video with Debbie Leanne Portraits, what reassurance would you give them as a guide?
Having other clients who have worked with us, like the reviews, we could give hundreds of names to potential clients if they wanted to reach out and ask them personally. I would have no problem whatsoever with them reaching out to finding out what it was like to work with us. I think being able to let them know it's okay that we'll work with the budget in a sense of we're not going to be cheap, but if this is something that is worth having, we can do it in 6 months. We can do it in 12 months. Let's start paying for that now. Let's start putting that aside, doing that prepayment, getting it all set aside for it. If it's really that important for you, they'll find the money. But just letting them know, like if they can't afford it, saying, oh, sorry, too bad. Like, that's not how we work here. We are not going to reduce our sorry, we're not going to reduce what we charge, but we're going to make it so that, okay, this is something that's really important to you. You can't come in and do it in 2 weeks, or maybe you need to come in 2 months, kind of thing. We have a client who is coming in December. She wants to start paying it off so that by the time she gets here, it's all taken care of and she can just enjoy her shoot. And then we have some clients who they'll pay several $1,000s to have it done next week. So it's not that it's not important to them, but like if they have to wait till December, in some cases it's even more important to them because they have to work to get the money to get there. And I had a client one time who took 3 years to pay off something, and she was paying it off at $100 a month, but it was so important to her that she just kept sending me money every single month. And then, we've got clients who spend several $1,000s and then just go and throw it in the car and never think about it again. So. Right.
My goal with this is to get your prior clients or clients that we have worked with to come in here and sit down like we are and have a conversation with you and talk about their experience with you and maybe share some of their stories. Who comes to mind when you think about somebody you'd like to see come in here that we can call out?
We have some clients who are some of our biggest cheerleaders. I think that would be fun to get them in. We have some clients who are a little more reserved, obviously. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got some ideas, but I don't know.
We've heard some interesting stories.
Oh, you haven't even heard half of them.
I know. But from our clients, we have heard some interesting stories, and I do think that if you could get them in front of you and relaxed enough to have a conversation, I think we could get some really fun conversations going. So, how different would your photography journey be if you would have stayed in Australia? Assuming you would have become a photographer, how different do you think it would be?
Oh, that's a great question. The interesting part is, like, for the better part of 10 years, my business coach was Australian. He grew up like 45 minutes away from me, and I didn't find him until I moved to Hawaii. So that would have been different. And then my best friend over in Australia is a photographer, and she did it on her own and stuff. So I'm wondering if we would have partnered up. I don't know. Although honestly, I was going to school to be a teacher, and I know I was a teacher over here, but I probably would have done it there. Teachers get paid a lot more money in Australia. I probably still would have. I don't know. That's a great question.
Because I mean, money motivations for Australians, is it any different than we have here?
I know people who always say, oh, can't get that kind of money in Australia, can't get that kind of money in the UK, can't get that kind of money. The money is money is money. It is, of course, you're going to get paid more over, the euros more than whatever. No, it's irrelevant. No, it's where are the client's priorities. There are rich people everywhere. There are wealthy people everywhere. And there's a difference between rich and wealthy. There are dual income earners everywhere. Our clients aren't the wealthiest of wealthy people. They are just regular people. Most of them are dual income, maybe a little bit older so that they've got discretionary cash. But they're everywhere. They're not just here. I think I know that what's available in Australia now is pretty equal. Like all the stuff that we get from Italy, you can get in Australia. Whereas I know for a really long time, there was just the Australian labs that they were using. Right. So stuff like that might be different, but yeah, I don't know. interesting question.
The what ifs. What if the universe would have tilted a different way?
Yeah, let's not go there.
Okay. Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys. Subscribe, like, hit the bell, all the YouTube stuff that you're supposed to say. And cut.